What's up, indie comrades? Welcome to IndiesLIVE. How's it going? I see that we've got a bunch of people in here today. If you're in here and you haven't said hello in the chat, say what's up. I'm Jack. For those of you who don't know me, I'm super excited to be here with you all today and answer your questions. I see that there's a bunch of questions in the comments, which is super duper dope. I feel incredibly #blessed to be here with you guys today on a beautiful and cold Wednesday. Will, what's going on, man? Joel, how are you? Sapir, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing well. Joe, what's up, man? I would be happy to answer your questions. Would love to hear about what you've got going on, and congratulations on launching your fan finder. Hey, Katie, what's up? Hope you're doing well and that you're having a great week. Jacqueline, how's it going? Good to see you in here. And Robert, what's up? Sky, Titan, Atlas, what's up, man? How's it going? Appreciate you being here as usual. I know you've been on a couple of these lives with me, so I appreciate you being here. Looks like we've got a bunch of comments in the comment section below, and I'll be diving into those. If you guys have any questions now that we're live on here, feel free to just drop them in the chat for me. That way I don't have to reload the page a whole bunch of times throughout our session here. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I know that sometimes that's an issue with my sound, but give me a heads up if you can hear me, and we will dive right in. Let me refresh this page once more just to make sure that I've caught everything in the comments. Hey, Lucas, what's going on, man? Appreciate you being here. Tommy, what's up? How's it going? I've got my coffee and my water, and I'm caffeinated and ready to go. And get you guys on your way with your questions. Let's see here. So it looks like we've got questions from Selena, from Justin, from Joel, from Tommy, from Mark, from Jessica, and from Daniel. So I'm stoked to go through these with you guys. Like I said, if you got any questions as we're going through these, or if something comes to your mind, feel free to just drop it in the chat, and we can cover it. So I'm going to start at the top here. And I'm going to start with Selena's question. So if you guys are following along, Selena asked, hey guys, I'm just starting out on your fan finder module and have a couple questions that I didn't see covered and hoping you can help. Is there a way to use an existing post but change the creative, the headline, and the copy and still get the engagements on the original post? Or does your ad need to mirror the original post exactly? So good question, Selena, and congratulations for diving into the fan finder training. I think you're going to find it incredibly useful. Good question about editing your existing posts. So if you have an existing post on your Facebook page and you want to keep the engagement on that and use that as your fan finder, so say you posted your video on there previously and you've got a whole bunch of copy that you decided that this is not good fan finder copy, I want to nix it. If you're not already running that post as an ad, if you haven't run that post as an ad in the past, you should be able to go right to your Facebook page, click the drop down arrow on that post and edit the post so that you can change the copy right then and there. And then all you need to do is, if you want to run with that post with all of the stacked engagement as your fan finder with the new copy that you've made, all you need to do is grab the post ID in your the URL section of your browser. You'll see the post ID. It'll say facebook.com/video/ a string of numbers. You just grab that ID and you go at the ad level of your campaign and you select use an existing post. You enter, you paste that number, that string of numbers in, and it will use your post from your page. Now, if you've already run that post as an ad previously, let's say, for example, like you published a fan finder and you had run it as a fan finder campaign before, just for example's sake here, and you had published it and you're finding that you can't edit the post directly on your page, what you'll want to do is you'll want to unlink that post from all of the ads that it's connected to. So you would have to go into those old campaigns that it was connected with, or that ad was created in, change the post to a different one just for the time being, publish that, and then once it's disconnected, so to speak, from any ads that would be running in your ads manager, Then you can go back to the page, your Facebook page, edit the post, and then use that existing post ID, like I said, for your fan finder campaign. That would be the two ways that you can go about doing it, depending on what your situation is. So hopefully that helps you out. Now, your second question, in the target audience, I don't see you targeting countries like Brazil, Mexico, Philippines. With these countries having major Spotify trigger cities, I'm wondering why you don't include. Good question. So if you continue through the fan finder training, we'll talk a lot about green light countries versus non-green light countries. And countries like Brazil, Mexico, and the Philippines, while they may potentially be major quote unquote Spotify trigger cities, what they are also huge trigger cities of or trigger countries of is click farms. So what that will result in if you run traffic to it is incredibly cheap cost per view, incredibly cheap engagement, and it will all be fake with people who will not actually be fans because those engagements will be coming from click farms that are set up in those countries. Facebook will push all of your spend to those countries because you're getting a massive amount of fake engagement from those. We refer to those as click farms, bots, whatever you'd like to call it. Those are countries that you do not want to run traffic to because of that. What will happen if you do is you will be essentially poisoning your ad account with bad data, and it sets you up for having an impossible time trying to retarget actual fans that you might have in those countries. So that's why we don't recommend countries like Brazil, Mexico, and Philippines, and sticking to the green light countries only. So hopefully that clears that up. If you have any more questions, I think that question has probably been gone over a ton of times in the Indies group, so feel free to take a search in there and see what you can find. But hopefully that clears up that help for you. And I wish you all the best with your fan finder. Looking forward to seeing what you've got going. Feel free to drop it in the group too. I'd love to check it out. I'm going to keep rolling forward here. Justin said, hey guys, I've got 5 questions. What's up, Justin? Thanks for jumping in, man. For an autoresponder, what do you think of fanbridge.com compared to MailChimp? Seems like it's got a lot going on, but I'm not sure. I would not recommend FanBridge as your autoresponder. That's something else that's been covered quite a bit in the group over the years. But for a number of reasons, FanBridge really just doesn't have the, for one, the integrations that you'll want, nor the features that you'll really want in an autoresponder at the cost that you're going to be spending on getting it. So with that in mind, just one thing, for example, FanBridge does not integrate with Zapier. So all of the integrations that you could possibly be using with Zapier, you will not be able to do with FanBridge. And your more standard autoresponders like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Drip, any of the bigger players in the email marketing space are going to give you a lot more flexibility in what you can do, not only in terms of outside integrations, but also the features inside the platform. I was looking at FanBridge this morning. I saw that just for being able to do drip campaigns, it was $50 a month. That was like their tier where you could have where you could be running what they call drip campaigns with no real explanation of what that entailed. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question on FanBridge, man. I definitely would not recommend it. Oftentimes what we see is with platforms where they're touting it as in this case, an email marketing platform that's for musicians. A lot of times the features and functionality is pretty crippled, and they're really just trying to rope people in with that angle that it's coming from musicians and that it's meant for musicians. So I would highly recommend looking into other options. Look into MailChimp a little bit more. I think that would certainly suit your needs, especially for the same price range. It would have much more features, even if you were keeping it at a lower price tier within MailChimp. So something to look into there. Hopefully that helps you out. For your second question, how do you go about making a fan finder ad with IGTV? At this point, you cannot advertise to IGTV, so no ability to do that just yet. What are some great quality clothing manufacturers that you would recommend? Good question. I actually asked Corinne about this because I saw your question ahead of time. I often use local printers, but a lot of times what I'm doing is small run stuff. and it just makes financial sense to do that. For some solid t-shirt and apparel stuff, you could look at OO Shirts. That's OOO Shirts. And what is the other one called? Rush Order Tees. Yeah, rushordertees.com. That's another one to look at as well. They have really quality stuff, and you can get it at a pretty sweet price. So those would be the first two that I would recommend checking out. And then you asked, is A to Z Media a cost-effective option for making vinyls? And should I even do vinyls since I plan on just doing singles every 1 or 2 months? Now, that's a good question. Some variables I don't know, so I'm going to try to give you a somewhat of a blanket answer. For one, I do not know about A to Z Media. I haven't used them. I checked out their website, and I see that they don't list pricing. It looks like they had some pretty solid list of customers. I was looking at some of the artists that were on there. It's definitely some names that I recognize. However, I do not see anything about their pricing, so can't answer to that, whether it's cost effective. And regarding your question on vinyls, if you're doing singles every 1 or 2 months, it may not make financial sense to do vinyls. I don't know what your customer base currently looks like, or if your fans are even into vinyls. That might be something to ask yourself: is your fan base into vinyl? Have you had vinyl purchases with them before? If you don't know the answer to that, talk with your fans. Ask them: are they into vinyl? Try to get a pulse on what they're into. If you're really passionate about selling vinyl, maybe it would make sense to do a limited run of one type, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't look at setting that up as a product just kind of willy-nilly without having some data to back you up, just because it can be a relatively costly endeavor to do. So hopefully that helps you there, man. And then Justin said, finally, since I plan on just doing singles every month or two, could I / should I still use the ultimate album launch funnel? If so, which way should I tweak it to make it worth releasing singles? Or if not, what kind of funnel would be best? Now, again, I'm going to give you some somewhat blanket recommendations, and I don't know if you're in here right now, Justin, but I'm going to give you some blanket recommendations since I don't know about your music, I don't know about your fan base, I don't know where you're at in terms of your buddy system and growing your ecosystem, but if you are looking to build up your list and that is what you're thinking about running a funnel for, I wouldn't recommend the Ultimate Album Launch as the blueprint for your single releases, just because if you're releasing singles every month or two, it doesn't set you up to really do a launch in the same sort of vein that we look at doing in the Ultimate Album Launch funnel. Now, with that in mind, what I might recommend is a different type of funnel, where what you could do is you could work to get opt-ins, so work that permission stage of your buddy system with something like maybe like an early access style funnel, where you get people to opt in for your singles as you're releasing them, and you say, hey, if you opt in with your email, I'll send you my single 24 hours before it drops or something like that, and let them into your early access group. That could be a really cool kind of opt-in mechanism to get people hyped up, give them something a little bit early, give them a reward, and that way you've got them on your list and you can start making offers to them as you're coming up with products and offers that you want to be selling related to the singles that are dropping. So it might be t-shirts, it might be bundles. If you decide to go with that vinyl idea, that could be a cool way to collect opt-ins over the long haul of you releasing those singles. So yeah, that's just an idea that comes off the top of my head that I think would be probably better suited for launching singles rather than trying to run the Ultimate Album Launch funnel. Hopefully that helps, man. I really hope the insights were useful to you, and I wish you all the best. Joel is in here, so I'm stoked that you're here, Joel. Would be happy to help with these questions. Joel said, is Google Tag Manager a big part of your tracking? And what have you guys found to be the best actions to track and use to segment audiences of your agency clients and create custom conversions to optimize campaigns for it, i.e. video view percentage inside the album launch, being tracked, time spent on each page, scrolling, clicks within the album launch, etc. Yeah, I mean, Google Tag Manager is definitely a powerful tracking mechanism, especially inside Google Analytics, being able to use that in your store and on your sites. It's really, really powerful for that. Now, with regards to best actions to track and use to segment audiences, I guess we'll speak specifically about album launch, since you asked. I think it's awesome that you're thinking about getting really granular with the data and what you can track with Tag Manager. That's super, super good. I think first things first, we look for some of the what I'll call like the higher level KPIs in a funnel first and foremost, because those are the ones that we're really looking for. So, for example, cost per lead, cost per acquisition, so cost per purchase, your take rate of your offer versus your conversion rate of your offer versus your leads, your take rates of your upsells, your email open rates, your email click rates. These are all sort of like the big metrics that we look for when we're running a funnel and we're diagnosing what's going on in it, because a lot of those are actionable, like really actionable pieces of the puzzle that we can look at them and we say, okay, well, right now our cost per lead is too expensive. So what is our cost per click at the ad? So if we're looking at our cost per click and we're seeing that our cost per click is too expensive and our conversion rate is at a certain percentage, then we know that by decreasing our cost per click, we could potentially decrease our cost per lead. Same thing looking at landing page conversion rate. If we've got cheap cost per click, but people are hitting the page and not converting, and our cost per lead is expensive, then look to optimize your landing page, your opt-in page, to bring down that cost per lead. If you're seeing that your content pages or if you're seeing that your email open rates, for example, are dropping throughout the course of your launch, then you might want to work on your subject lines and getting people to continue opening those emails, or just tweaking the body copy of the email to open up loops so that people are waiting for the next email. So working your copy in that way. And same thing goes for the email click rate, really driving curiosity to sell the click in those emails as you're delivering the content to people. So I'm kind of giving you a sort of a diagnostic of the things that we look for, I would say, first in funnels before getting really granular into some of the more granular metrics that you can look at with something like Google Tag Manager, like the time spent on page, the scrolling, and things like that. If you were to go into those and you were looking into it and you were just starting to diagnose after you looked at all of these other areas in your funnel that are really, really actionable, I would say looking at, for one, the time spent on page and the scrolling would be really good places to start on your content pages, because it will give you an idea of how people are engaging with the content, how long they're consuming it for, if they're just hitting the above the fold section, watching a little bit of the video, or listening to your song and bouncing. So those would probably be the first two when you're getting granular with your data that I would look at. And then you could look at things like the video view percentage inside your videos in the launch. But I don't know if that would necessarily be the best use of your optimization time, just because people might watch a little bit of the video and then they might go down to the rest of the content on your page and really engage with it. But that might just be a factor of them not being super into video, or maybe they're just not in a position to watch the video at the moment, so they're going on to something that they can engage with right then and there in that moment. So all that to say, I think looking at those higher level spots and segmenting based on that, segmenting based on your leads, segmenting based on your viewed content within the funnel in the content pages itself, segmenting based on your add to carts and your view content on your offers in the funnel, and obviously your purchasers, and looking at all of your data across that, from leads, your email open rates, for seeing how people are interacting with your messages throughout the course of the launch, and obviously your conversion rates on purchases, on your offer, on your core offer, your take rates on your upsells. Those would be like the biggest areas that I would focus on working and segmenting first and foremost. So yeah, hopefully that helps, man. Kind of a little bit of a rant there. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. But hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the things that we look for sort of across the board. Tommy said, greetings, Jack. Tommy, what's up, man? I'm glad you're here. Desperately looking for suggestions, strategies to continue with Fan Finder campaign. My first Fan Finder and album launch was rather successful, and over the course of about a year and a half, I ran 9 album launches. Same album, same experience that yielded pretty good results, but the engagement gradually lessened over time and conversion rate increased. I stopped the Fan Finder for a while as I was working on other creative projects musically. I really want to keep new fans coming in, though. In my last attempt in October, I did a low-key Fan Finder with low ad spend, and I tried to target only new people by eliminating people that had already seen my Fan Finder video, etc. But conversion rate was ridiculous, around $9.15 per lead. Anyway, any suggestions on strategy to revamp? Should I continue pushing the album experience, which is still all set up? I'm also getting ready to release a new album in the spring and ramping up for that. We'll be contacting IndieX soon. Cool. Thanks for the help. Cool, man. Yeah, I know you've been really flexing your muscles on the album launch and have been doing these evergreen style launches where you launch and relaunch throughout the course of the year or more now. I know you've been on a couple Indies lives and we've chatted about it too, which is dope. So yeah, some things to think about with regards to your Fan Finder and your cost per lead going up for your launches. So it sounds like you're running into a little bit of saturation in your audience, where the people who are seeing your opt-in ads, that you're serving your opt-in ads to, that you're retargeting after Fan Finder, are not engaging with it anymore, or they've already been in it, and so you're seeing your cost per lead go up. Couple things that might be worth looking at, since you're kind of at a point where you're looking to scale it some more and get some more juice out of the funnel. Couple things. You might want to look at revamping your top of funnel targeting. So just doing a new brainstorm and horizontally scaling that way by looking into new audiences that you can target with your Fan Finder, so you can get some fresh blood in there outside of the existing audiences that you've been targeting. I imagine you're doing lookalikes at this point. That would probably be one area to start to get new people aware of you and get introduced, so that you've got some new blood to retarget. That would be one area that I would look. If you've been running the same opt-in ad, which I don't know at this point, let me know in the chat if you have, but it might be worth just refactoring your opt-in ads, changing it up, taking some new angles, looking in that area to retarget people with a fresh creative there. That may help to bring down your cost per lead. Maybe you're running into a frequency issue where people are just seeing the same thing over and over and over again. But those would probably be my first 2 suggestions, especially with regards to your Fan Finder, is just getting some new audiences in there to work with and to put your stuff in front of, so that you can hit them with some retargeting. With that in mind, it might even be worth looking into going with a larger percentage lookalike audience. Since you've got some data to work with, you could potentially look at some new lookalikes, either 1% off of a different source. Maybe you could work through, if you've got enough purchaser data, you could even look to build a purchaser lookalike and start targeting in there off of your customer list. If not that, you could look at your video views audiences and bump up your lookalike percentages on there and try to scale that way as well. But I think horizontal scaling, just to get you some new eyeballs and get some new awareness happening, would probably be the first place that I would start if it seems like you're running into saturation. So hopefully that helps, man. Let me know if you have any other questions. That is kind of that's probably the first thing that I would look at. If you've already exhausted, creative options within your opt-in campaign, especially, that would probably be the next place that I would look. And other than that, I mean, it may be worth looking into running a different kind of Fan Finder if you've got the capability of putting a new one together and taking the lessons learned from your first one and making something cool. That may be another place to start, just to get a fresh piece of content in front of people, since you've been running this for quite some time. But those are my thoughts, man. Let me know if that inspired anything for you. Mark said, "Hey Jack, what's the best strategy?" excuse me. What's the best strategy to use the hyperfile link to promote an upcoming single release? My single has the pre-save hyperfile link from DistroKid, and I'm not sure my sharing it has had any results yet. The post got good reach. I didn't sponsor the post yet, but may as I get closer to the release. Thank you. Hey, Mark, that's a good question. So a couple things to look at. So it sounds like you've been sharing the hyperfollow pre-save link on your socials. I would definitely recommend sending it to your email list, building up some hype around the single that way, getting in touch with those people that you have a one-to-one channel with. I think that's a great way to get them excited. If you can tease some content from the single, doesn't necessarily have to be a snippet, but maybe you've got some single artwork that you can slowly tease out. That might be a cool way to get your subscribers excited and just get exposure to that link. I would also look at running a little ad to the link to your warm audience. So not to cold traffic, but to your all warm audience, your page engagement, your website traffic, your list, any video views, campaign, video view campaign audiences that you can retarget. Anybody who's in your warm audience, I would suggest, running a low budget ad to those people and get them to see the link that way. If you're running into issues with getting people to see it, if you're running into issues with reach, like I said, I don't have a ton of info on how you've been sharing it, but if you've been sharing it organically just through your socials and that's what you've been working with, I would keep working on those couple things and just, flexing on some content related to the single that you can give people. And the fire alarm in my building is going off. I'm going to go on mute for a second here, guys. Bear with me. Oh my God, this is probably killing you guys. I'm so sorry. Let's go on mute. Hey gang, so sorry about that. Now that I am appropriately hard of hearing from the fire alarm, apparently there was a small little fire a couple floors below. But we're all good. The fire department came and took care of it. So sorry for the wait. I don't know how many of you guys stuck with me here, but I massively apologize for the inconvenience. And we're going to carry on with our regular programming. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me take a look at the chat here. Derek, that's hilarious. Joe, Sapir, thanks for staying. Jacqueline, thanks for staying. Haley, no worries. I appreciate you hanging on for as long as you did. This video will be in your Indie Pro dashboard so that you can check it out. You can go to IndiesLIVE and you'll be able to watch the replay. So you can check it out there. Lucas left me a question in the Facebook box. Cool. I will refresh the page and look at your note. Glad you guys were able to stick around. For those of you that were, sorry for the wait. For those of you that couldn't, massive apologies again. In case you can't tell, I'm out of breath from running to get back to you guys. But let's kick it back off. I appreciate you guys hanging around. Let's see, where was I? I think I was towards the excuse me, towards the bottom of the page here. Oh yeah, I answered Mark's question. Jessica's question said, this seems to be a common issue, but I can't find a solution in the Facebook group. Corinne's comments were deleted from the thread. I'm trying to post my ad to my page. When I enter the post ID in the search bar on page post, nothing comes up. And when I comb through the multiple ad posts listed from my video in page post, none of them show engagement. I could share the ad link to my page, but then none of the engagement would show up. Like I said, a lot of people post about this, so maybe there's no solution, but is there something I'm missing? That's really strange. You know what? Let me take a quick look here for you, Jessica. I'm going to open up an ad account from one of our agency clients at IndieX and see if I can replicate that error that you're having. I haven't come across that issue, actually. I haven't had any issues publishing ads post to a page and going through the page posts section to find it. But you know what? Let me take a quick look here and see what I can find. I'm just going into an ad account. And we'll go to page posts. And here is a post with engagement on it. Yeah, I'm not sure what that issue might be. Jessica, I don't know if you're on here or not, but how long has this been persisting for you? Has it been relatively recent? It could be a bug just related to your ad account that's going on right now. Sometimes that happens where a small segment of people will have a particular issue, and then other people won't. So that could have something to do with it, but that is really strange that you're seeing that. I'll check out your post in the group as well to see if I can find anything further about what you might have going on. Oh, I don't know if you posted in the group or somebody else did, but let me take a look. Feel free, if you're rewatching this, feel free to drop another note in the Facebook group. I would say if you're searching with the post ID and you can't find it, I would suggest going through your ads post and seeing if you can find it. Oh, you said when I comb through the multiple posts listed, none of them show engagement. Yeah, that's really, really strange. Do you happen to be using dynamic creative? That's something to check into. If you're using dynamic creative, you won't be able to stack social proof. So that might be something to check on the at the ad level, or at the ad set and then the ad level of your campaign, because if you're using dynamic creative, that could be causing the issue. Maybe it's something that you enabled accidentally. I would check into that, and like I said, drop a note in the group and let us know, and I'll check out the other post in case you did post in the group about this already, and see if I can come to a solution. But like I said, I can't replicate the problem right now, so I'm not sure what might be going on there beyond just a bug that might be going around. Lucas said, Jack, about Jessica's issue, same thing happened to me. I think it's because when I was setting up my fan finder campaign, I grabbed the post ID from the link and never checked that Facebook really created the post. Huh. Well, I appreciate the hypothesis. However, if there is a link attached to that post, or if there was a link that you could point to from previewing the ad and grab a post ID, then there should be a post from that ad in your page post dashboard here. So I don't know that would be the issue. It sounds like it may be just potentially a bug, but I don't know how long this has been going on for. Hopefully I can help get to the bottom of it. I'm going to check out Jessica's post, but thanks for chiming in, Lucas. I appreciate it, man. Are you still having the same issue? Did you sort it out when running your campaign? Let me know. Maybe there's a solution that we can pivot to for Jessica. In the meantime, Daniel said, hey guys, so I'm getting started with my first fan finder campaign and trying to figure out what type of video would be the best to represent my music brand. I'm a producer, composer of introspective, melodic, electronic dance music, not typical EDM, and even though Circa mentioned some very useful content ideas, I don't feel those suggestions work that effectively for my genre, brand, image. Jack, do you have any content suggestions, ideas that you'd recommend for me? Huh. I totally understand the dilemma, Dan. That's definitely a question that we've seen pop up quite often, specifically around like producers, and specifically around like the dance genre, whether it's EDM, like your typical radio kind of EDM, or more melodic, introspective stuff, kind of underground stuff. Some things, and I don't know if this is what you're referring to in what Circa mentioned, but some things that might be worth looking into is if you can put together some type of performance video around one of your songs, whether that be a looping video or like a production style video where you are performing the track and kind of making it on the go. And this might be something where you have to actually take one of your songs and kind of break it down to more bare bones pieces that you can perform. Actually, there's a fan finder post in the group, I believe, from a producer named Jordan Perry, who's an indie from Canada, and he's the man. And he's a producer, and I know he's asked this question either in the group or directly to me at one point, and he came up with some pretty cool ideas for his fan finder, kind of in this vein of showing off his production chops in a live kind of setting. That would probably be the direction that I would look to go. I would look there, and there's plenty of info in the group as well. Like I said, this has been asked a lot, but that would probably be my go-to. And actually, it's funny that you asked this because I'm looking at starting to put together a fan finder campaign for myself, and I'm a solo pop artist and producer. And while I could do an acoustic video for sure, which is one thing that I might have in my back pocket, me playing the acoustic guitar, playing the piano, singing, something like that, I would be a little more keen on doing something that showcases kind of the ambient styles of how my music is produced. And so I've been looking at doing a similar type of thing, sort of stripping one of my songs, one of my more heavily produced songs, down to its bare bones, and just kind of showing off the talent of producing it, performing it, and going with that. So not like a step-by-step production video or anything like that, but actually like a performance production video, potentially with some looping. That would be the direction that I'm looking to go. So I would, in that same kind of vein, I would recommend going that kind of direction, and you need to sort of think outside the box a little bit, and then come up with some creative headlines to go along with it, so that your campaign really takes off. So hopefully that helps, man. I know it's kind of vague advice, but I wanted to give you some ideas just based on what's rattling around in my brain and what I've seen other people do and what other people are talking about. So yeah, hopefully that helps you out, man. If you're in here, let me know. Lucas, thanks, man. I made a post in the group for that topic where I explained the best solution I found. And Atlas said, "Do you have a link?" Atlas, even if Lucas does have a link, if he posts it in this YouTube chat, it won't come through, which is a huge pain. So just search him in the Indies group, and you should be able to find it. I know that's kind of a pain, but yeah. Let me refresh my page here. Okay, Lucas said, "Hey Jack, Lucas from Argentina. I'm running my fan finder in Latin American countries with very good results. Many of them are red light countries. I've listened to Circuit talking about the bots issue with my fan finder. I've received a lot of feedback. Also, many comments that the bot could hardly make. I've been checking my stats on YouTube and Spotify, and the numbers are growing since I launched my fan finder. Also checking some user profiles and the relationship between the impressions of the campaign and the total impressions that include traffic not attributable to people in the ads manager, and can't really find a gap at all. Are those numbers reliable? Thank you so much." Hey man, I totally, I appreciate you going to, seemingly great lengths to try and sort out what's happening there, but I wouldn't rely on those numbers as you're running traffic to non-green light countries, just because while you might be getting some real people in there, and while a lot of the comments are ones that hardly a bot could handle, now you have to think that with engagement that you're getting from click farm countries, these are not necessarily bots. These are people that are engaging in a, with a profile that is a real profile, but these are people that are being, paid en masse to do this kind of thing for a low wage. That's what's happening in a click farm. So with that in mind, my only real recommendation to you is to cut running traffic to non-green light countries. And the only, as far as experimenting with that and what it can, and full well knowing what it can do to your data, if you're going to continue doing so, I would continue at your own risk in a separate ad account where you're not where you're somewhat able to mitigate at least a little bit of the damage. But yeah, my big recommendation for you here, Lucas, is to where you can is to stop running cold traffic to the Latin American countries where you might be dealing with click farms, bots, so on and so forth. The reason I'm saying that especially is because when you're looking to retarget those warm audiences that you're building up, even if there are real people from those countries in there, what you're effectively doing when you're targeting those countries is diluting those countries' warm audiences that have those real people in it with bad traffic as well. So it's poisoning that data where there may be real people hanging around, real people from Argentina or any Latin American country, South American country, whatever, any country that's not on our green light list. It's not to say that there's not real people in your fan base that are in those areas, but when you're running a cold traffic campaign like a fan finder to those countries, you're also filling up those retargeting audiences with traffic that's not good, and it's not gonna down the line convert the way that you want it to into a fan that's deeper and deeper into your world. So hopefully that helps, man. Just wanted to give you my full thoughts on that. Oh, and thank you for tagging Jessica and myself. That's awesome. Sapir, the Facebook group is Indiepreneur Indies, and you can join in. We're looking forward to having you in there. Let me go back in the chat here and make sure that I didn't miss anything, because I know there were a couple questions. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff in here. Cool. Let me get through your questions in the chat, guys. Okay, Joe. Joe said, first, if a couple of my ad sets are performing way below the others, is it going to mess things up if I shut those two down and let the budget spread out to the better performing ones? Great question. So if you're running campaign budget optimization, and your ad sets are, and you're having some ad sets that are performing not as well, and they're not getting a lot of spend, or they're getting very little spend because the campaign is optimized to your best performing ad sets, then you're not wasting money on those because very little budget is actually going to them. So in that case, you could leave them running. As a matter of fact, having those ad sets running can have a net positive effect on how your better performing ad sets are running, just by the way that optimization works, especially because not a whole lot of spend is going to them, so you're not wasting money on more expensive cost per views, cost per engagement. Now, if you're running ad set level budget, which is still available in many cases, if you still have ad set level budget that you can run, you should turn those off so that you're not spending money there. It won't mess up your other ad sets because the budget is set separately and the optimization is not happening at the campaign level. So hopefully that answers your question, man. Jacqueline said, hi, I've been promoting my fan finder daily since November 5th. I have a new song coming out this Friday. I want to know if I should do a lyric video or something else for it to promote it. So if you've been running your fan finder, well, first off, that's awesome. Good stuff, Jacqueline. What you could do is, if you've got a new song coming out this Friday, you've got all that new fan finder traffic that you can retarget about your new song that's coming out. So if you have a lyric video, you could build a Facebook ad campaign to retarget all those people that watched your fan finder about your new song that's coming out. So if you've got a lyric video, you could use that as the creative in the video. If you've got, even better would be a performance video of you performing the song, if you're able to do that sort of thing in the same sort of vein as your fan finder, could be a really cool way to do it as well. But yeah, I would definitely look into maximizing the exposure that new single gets with the audiences that you've built up with your fan finder. Capitalize on that traffic since you've got it. That's the whole point of using the fan finder to build up retargetable audiences, is to be able to show them more things. So that would be my recommendation for you there. Hopefully that helps. Katie said, whoops, sorry, I should have said ask in the Facebook comment box below. Oh, no worries. Let me see what else is going on. Will said, thoughts on releasing and promoting a 5-track EP to create a deeper connection with an audience versus singles? Good question, Will. I think EPs are great. I've worked with artists who have done EP releases. I've worked with artists who have done album releases. I think EPs can work really, really well. If you looked at the Ultimate Album Launch funnel, we've had people who have used EPs in that funnel to great effect, which is very cool. So there's definitely nothing wrong with running, launching a record as an EP. Especially if you know down the road that you're going to have the resources to be able to continue to record more music, and you want to promote it more as like a launch where there's a cohesive sort of feeling behind it. You can do that kind of thing. If you know you're going to be strapped to create more music and you want to stretch it out over the course of time, singles might be a better approach for you. It really just depends on your taste, I think. But I would say take a look at the Ultimate Album Launch training for sure, and crack into that, and think about how that might fit into what you've got in the back of your mind, sort of not knowing much more about where you're at beyond that. But those are my thoughts. I've definitely seen EPs work really, really well to great effect through funnels like the Ultimate Album Launch funnel. So yeah, I think that whichever direction you go, I would just say, think about how the songs relate to each other. Can you spin a narrative around them as a collective, a collective record? Is there a theme that you could sort of weave through the 5 songs? From a creative standpoint, I think that's something to think about. Or are they just 5 songs that you put together, 5 singles that you've recorded independently of one another, and don't really fit into a larger sort of narrative based on where you're going. It doesn't necessarily have to be a concept record or anything like that, but just something to think about creatively about how you would frame some sort of launch if you were to do it in a cohesive manner. But yeah, EPs are great. Jacqueline said, I put my question here, but it looks like I'm supposed to put it somewhere else. This is my first time. Oh, no, I got your question. No worries. Very good. Cool. Joe said for a fan finder day 4 is 36,000 reach, 446, 75% plays, something to salute or something to be concerned about. When is it time to abandon a fan finder and try a new approach? Katie said, Joe, what does it cost you so far? You can figure out what's costing per 75%. Total spend is $94. I'm just curious how this compares to other campaigns. Katie said, Katie, you're the best. Jack will definitely give you a better answer, but you're sitting at 21 cents per 75% view. Once you get it to 1,075% views, you can then create a lookalike audience. Yeah, so you're sitting at, Katie is crushing it while I was absent in the fire alarm. But yeah, Joe, if you're sitting at 21% or 21 cent per 75% view, based on spending $94, and you said that you've got 446 75% views. So you're working in great shape. I would say keep that rolling so far. Generally, like if you can shoot to get your 75% views a little bit lower and optimizing once you've got 1,000 viewers at that level, you can create your lookalike audience, and you'll likely see your cost per 75% view pare down even more to the 10 to 15 cent range, and I think that you'll be in good shape. So carry forward for sure. Those are really, really good results getting started. So good stuff. I think you're in a good space for sure. Katie said my current lookalike audience is sitting at 10 cents per 75% view. I'd love to get it lower, but that's pretty good. Yeah, that's great. If you're at 75%, if you're at 10 cent per 75% view, you're in really, really good shape. So very, very cool stuff. Joe, hopefully that helps, man. Katie really crushed it here, tag teaming with me. I couldn't say it better myself. So good stuff. Cairo said, hey Jack, do you know how to invite friends from specific cities to Facebook events? The changing your hometown hack doesn't seem to work anymore. That I'm not sure of, Cairo. Actually, I'm not positive on that process anymore, apart from manually going through and setting that up. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you on that there, man. But I can take a look for you and see if I can find any workaround. But not totally sure there. Let's see here. Derek said, question, I'm working on my first fan finder, having run e-commerce stores previously. My instinct is to try to create an MVP funnel, including a purchase, i.e. free plus shipping and handling. Is this a bad instinct? Hey, Derek, good question. I would say first things first, it's great that you're working on your fan finder to build up your top of funnel traffic. That's definitely important, so that you've got some warm retargetable audiences to work with. Free plus shipping and handling funnel is definitely a great tool to use, a great strategy to knock into for what we call the affirmation stage of the buddy system. I don't know if you've gone through the buddy system training or not, but you definitely should. Kind of maps out the whole customer journey, the listener journey that works really well when thinking about growing as a musician, as an artist. So I would look into that. The affirmation stage of the customer journey is getting that first time purchase, that ever so important first purchase that gets somebody over the psychological hurdle of buying with you. And running a free plus shipping and handling funnel is a really great way to do that, especially when you've got audiences that have been introduced to you. Now that said, running a free plus shipping and handling funnel, if you don't have a large retargetable audience, will likely burn out pretty quickly. So getting a lot of retargetable traffic in the immediate stages of your marketing is going to be really important if you're going to move to free plus shipping and handling funnel as your next step. So yeah, man. Hopefully that helps. I think going through the buddy system, if you haven't already, will definitely help because the process of building a fan base um, beyond uh, beyond just the introduction stage, and taking people through the entire journey of becoming aware of you, learning more about who you are, and really immersing themselves in who you are as an artist. Getting permission from them, which is especially important for building your list, then starting to get those purchases and repeat purchases and turning those fans into advocates and people who are willing to refer their own network, their people, uh, into your ecosystem is kind of the goal here. And taking people along that journey with you is really important, which is a little different than what you might do for just straight up e-commerce, where a free plus shipping and handling funnel may be the first, oftentimes can be the first place that you start, even to cold traffic. The approach can be a little bit different, but we do have the free plus shipping and handling funnel training inside Indie Pro. It sounds like you're familiar with free plus shipping and handling funnels from your work in e-commerce, which is great. Check out that training for sure, because it's got some nuances to it that are specific to musicians that I think would help you out. But yeah, man, good stuff. You're definitely on the right track with those instincts. I'd check out the buddy system as your resource, just as kind of like a roadmap, and check out the free plus shipping and handling funnel for some ideas of what you can put into the funnel. And I'm excited to see what you do with your fan finder and working to build up those audiences. Tommy said, thanks, Jack. Will do. No problem, man. Hope I helped. Atlas said, hey, how would you tease out singles artwork? Hey, good question. I mean, there's a number of ways you could do it. You could put together, grid style posts on Instagram. A lot of artists do that sort of thing. That can be a cool way to tease out single artwork. You could do reveals, slowly revealing sections of the single artwork, and you could do that as like sends out to your list. Those are just a couple ideas that come to mind. You could even do, you could get so creative with it. You could do, you could do lives where you could reveal like little things about the single, maybe not necessarily necessarily pieces of the single artwork, but if you wanted to reveal, as part of a whole single campaign, where you were releasing a single, and let's say the artwork was only one part of that teasing out of things about the single, you could dedicate a live stream to it, talking about the artwork, revealing it to the fans, making it something that's experiential, especially if you've got artwork for the song that is unique or personal or has like a story behind it. You could really get into the weeds with how you talk to your fans about that and use it as a medium to get your people excited. So yeah, man, hopefully that gives you some ideas to work with. Bradley said, hey Bradley, what's up? Hi Jack, reoccurring content as a YouTube vlog. Do you think that running that on a separate YouTube channel is a good strategy, or rather it be posted on the artist YouTube channel? I think having it on the artist YouTube channel is a good move, especially if you're trying to build the artist fan base. I wouldn't recommend putting it on a separate channel unless unless it's a specific type of content that's outside of, really far outside what the artist is doing. But I think keeping it in one channel is totally fine, definitely appropriate, and just makes sense for building the overall presence of the artist up. So that would be my move there, not knowing much more about, the specifics of what you're trying to do. Just going through the chat here to catch anything that I might have missed. I know we went over a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that I got to give you guys as much as Derek said, yep, I've done the training. I just want to skip the line from intro to affirmation. Yeah, so I will forewarn you not to skip steps in the buddy system as much as you can. I totally understand wanting to move people towards affirmation. I think that, there are cases where that can work really, really well, but building up that base, building up that base over, especially over those first few steps of the buddy system, getting people to affirmation, or where you're going to build the fans that are really invested into what you're doing beyond just a purchase of a trinket, or just one thing and then moving along and kind of disengaging with you from there. Building on that relationship so that you've got fans who are deeply invested in what you're doing is kind of the name of the game. So just something to think about as you're planning out your strategy. But looking forward to seeing what you do, man. Feel free to drop campaign ideas and what you're working on in the group for sure. I'm looking forward to following your journey. Sapir said, when I released my single, I reached 30K video views, new followers, and amazing comments on the song, but only one email subscriber. From the video ad, I redirected fans to an email campaign. Sapir, not knowing what that opt-in campaign looked like, it might be worth tweaking what your opt-in strategy is. The campaign costs about $800. Gotcha. Okay, so not knowing, and you can tell me what your opt-in campaign was, but it may be worth looking into tweaking. It sounds like it's worth looking into tweaking the messaging of that opt-in campaign, and also looking into how big the audience you were actually retargeting was. Were you retargeting 30K 3-second views? In that case, you've got an audience that's not necessarily the most engaged or warmed up. If you're targeting 75% 30,000 video views, that's a different story. But looking into the messaging and the positioning of whatever your lead magnet was, whatever your bribe was, trying to get those people on your list, that would be the first place that I would look into tweaking and asking yourself, am I putting something in front of my fans that they really want? These people that watch my video, or maybe maybe that's just a step too far for them, and they need to be a little bit more warmed up. So retargeting them with some content, whether that be a follow-up video, whether that be posts going to your page, and just using some green light warmth strategies to get those people seeing your content more and more, to warm them up, get them educated on you. Those are kind of the two areas that I would look. But first and foremost, looking at what your lead magnet was, getting a better understanding of why or why not it was working for the people that you're trying to retarget. Maybe it just wasn't an offer that they wanted. I would look into that. Those would be my recommendations for you, man. Feel free to drop in the group what you were doing, what the campaign looked like, and there's tons of folks who are running great opt-in campaigns, great campaigns to build up that permission stage of the buddy system. So I'd love to hear more about what you got going on. Definitely share the journey with us. Drop it in the Indies group so that we can hear a little bit more about it, and definitely can help you diagnose what's happening there. Let's see. Okay, looks like there's a couple comments here. Justin, yes, this live stream will be saved later to watch. It'll be in your Indie Pro dashboard where you can check it out. Just go to the Indies Live section and you'll be able to see the replay. Derek, I got your question. Brett, how's it going, man? Let me get to your question before we jump off here. Brett said, hey Jack, I've been duplicating campaigns lately to save me some setup time. When an ad is duplicated, as you know, it duplicates all the ad sets and ads themselves. In the ad section, I'm usually using a new audience so I can trash the old ad sets. Oh, so can I trash the old ad sets, or does that trash the saved audiences in the original ad as well? Thanks, man. Hey, no, you can definitely, if you're duplicating campaigns, you can delete those ad sets that you don't want to use in the duplicated campaign. It will not affect your saved audiences in the original campaign, so long as you don't overwrite those saved audiences or make changes to them, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, if you want to wipe out ad sets that you don't need because you're not going to run them anyway, you can definitely delete those, no problem. Brad said, here's a goofy one. When I originally started doing ads prior to indie training, I started a band page, but when I started these courses, I started a business page. Both pages look exactly the same, but the band page has no access to the business tools ads manager. Little rectangular box at the top left. Should I delete this page, or is it somehow necessary? Band page. I don't think I've seen a ban page in a really long time. Um, I'd have to take a look at what you're seeing, Brett. Let me do a quick search. Actually, you know what, Brett? Drop that page in the group, um, and tag me in the group uh, with a note. I want to see what this is because I it sounds like it's something so far back. Um, that I'm actually not sure. I'm not actually sure what that would do deleting it. I don't think that it would have any impact on your actual Facebook page, um, your Facebook business page. Um, but I haven't seen a Facebook ban page. Uh, I'm not even sure if I know what that is anymore. I haven't seen something like that in quite some time. So yeah, drop me a note in the group. I'd like to check it out. I'm curious. um, so yeah, thanks, man. Well, thank you guys for sticking with me. I hope all of this was helpful. I appreciate you hanging out through the stupid fire alarm that happened, and bearing with me. I hope that all the answers to these questions were useful for you guys. I'm looking forward to having another Indies Live with you soon. And until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and go forth and crush. I'll see you guys later.